seeing that there was nobody down there, he just, come with me, we're gonna take a walk. I stopped, looked at him, and he was looking at me, gritting his teeth. He had this thing he done where he gritted his teeth and doubled his fist up. It was just the most scariest thing to me and to all of us, you know. I started walking with him. I'm thinking we're just gonna walk. He's just gonna cuss and rage like usual, take his anger out on me. You know, that's what he usually does, take his anger out on us and leave everybody else alone. I'm walking with him, and it just felt weird. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't see him have no weapons or nothing. I didn't know what was going on. But I'm scared. It felt like I couldn't stop walking beside him. It was like my feet were moving. The only thing I could think in my head was, man, I'll be glad when this day's over with. This is going to be a hell of a day here. You know, it's going to entail more gunfire, beatings, and, you know, everything else that comes with it. We get down there, he beats on the door a few times, and I'm looking, I'm like, man, what's going on? And I just freeze up. And the guy answers and says something or other like, what do you want? And my stepdad looks at him and says, what do you want? What are you looking at? And the guy says something about fix to call the sheriff, or fix to call the cops. And my stepdad said, I knew it. And pulled a pistol. When he pulled the pistol, interrogate me again without my mother present or anyone present there. And I keep telling them, you know, hey, I didn't do nothing wrong. I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. But they keep feeding me information saying they believe I seen something or somebody seen something, and that somebody hid behind a guy's couch and jumped out and shot him and killed him while breaking in. And I was scared. I was like, no, I don't know nothing about nothing. You know, from what I've been told, you cooperate with police, you die. You cooperate with police, there's murder. feel worse than anything, you know. I was like, man, they didn't even take time to look at nothing, and they made up stuff. So I felt like they was against me too, and I was always told they was against me, so it fell into what I was always taught and told. So I was confused by all of this, and the adults that was around me was my stepdad's partners in the counties and stuff that was waiting for sentencing on drug trafficking and stuff like that. They would all sit there, man. A guy named Glenn Hurst, one of his partners. I hate calling him out by name because, you know, he was in there for, I think, drug trafficking at the time too. But he come up to me, he knew what was going on, and he said, "You're a kid, man. He shouldn't leave you to take the rap. You should speak up. You should think about life and speak up." But then the neighbor that was in there that would help my stepdad move out, that was on the same road, was in the same county jail with me at the time, and was basically like, you know, he seemed to be a pretty good dude at times. But I didn't know if I talked or anything, I was going to be the target. I would never be able to walk the streets. I'd be murdered. That's just how it was. I'd be murdered. I remember the time my stepdad came home a couple years before that. Just got through saying he killed somebody and was shot in his leg, and we had to hide him. And that could be proven. He still got the undocumented gunshot wound in his leg. Went straight through his leg, and we had to hide him after he committed this murder he told us about. And so we already knew how dangerous he was. And I'm sitting there like, man, I don't know what to do. Well, as the trial keeps getting closer, they keep telling me that, oh, everything's going to be okay. So I quit cooperating with them, because I just thought my life was over, man. Nobody's believing me. I'm talking. I'm telling them I didn't do nothing. And nobody's listening to me. They're telling me they're going to sentence me to death. I'm 16 years old. They're saying they're going to kill me. And I'm asking them, why y'all going to kill me? You know, what the hell? What's going on? They don't even realize still that I can barely read or write. I don't know what's going on. My IQ was only 73 at the time. The IQ test I had took showed my IQ was only 73. I was coming off of drugs that was antidepressant drugs that was highly addictive, Klonopin and all. That was one makes me dizzy, and then the other coming off of them was having a hell of an effect on me. I didn't know what to say or do to anybody. So I kept telling my attorneys, hey, I made this confession up. Y'all know this, right? And I kept telling them, nobody listened. They're like, oh man, these people gonna kill you. 9/11 had just happened. You know, a little bit after, right before my trial. These people ain't settling for this. This is a small town. This is in the South, and you're about to go on trial for murder. They're gonna murder you. They're gonna put a needle in your arm. So it don't matter. Whatever you have to say, they got a confession. It don't matter if it matches this, that, and the other. It don't matter that it don't match much, but they're gonna say you done it. And they're gonna kill you. So then I'm scared to death. My stepdad tells me, comes up there, and he's trying to give me money. He's breaking out crying when he comes up there. I don't know if he had regret or remorse, or I don't know. And then for 1 minute he'd be looking at me crazy in the courtroom, evil, like he has evil intentions for me. But then he'd give me a loan to play this sympathy guilt trip, or maybe he was really crying. Maybe he's really hurt. I don't know to this day. But he would try to give me help and money and stuff, and tell me, hey, take this back to the county. Which my friends got you. You know, it's okay. I'm gonna have some stuff delivered to you in the county. Just, you know, stay silent. I'm proud of you. And you need to take this bench trial. That way, you know, it makes it better on you, because I got pulled with the judge and all them, and I can help you out. So he sold me this idea that he had pulled was still alive after the little break-in occurred. He was still walking around making phone calls to 2 different people. How could I jump up from behind the couch and shoot him dead when he come home when he's walking around his house making phone calls? That's one point. The other one is there was 3 shots fired. Another point is there was no gun buried in no ditch. No gun was even found in my access. My stepdad had the gun and clip hid separately. They asked my stepdad a question, where's the gun? I don't know where the gun is. Where's the gun? I don't know. When they slapped the cuffs on, he said, oh, I'll take you to a gun I got hit. Yeah. He gave him the gun after he got it from his hiding place. They said, where's the clip at? Oh, it's down here. He gave it to him. Cops didn't even ask him, what was you doing with that gun? If that was the minor weapon, why would they ask him, how'd you get this gun? They let him go, just like in there, oh, you're free to go ahead. Because the cop made a statement up saying, in a police report, now whether they made a mistake or whatever, I'm not here to call nobody crooked, but lots of mistakes were made. When they put this down on paper that I confessed to this gun, that they showed me this gun, and I said, yeah, that's the gun I used. They said I confessed to this in front of juvenile officers and parents. Well, as the juvenile officer parents testified years later, that never even happened. But yet they used that against me. They said they had a juvenile officer present during search and seizure, serving of the warrant, and taking the bodily samples and stuff. The juvenile officers, this police officer stuck to his story for a little bit, and then finally fell apart because the juvenile officer signed in somewhere else. So they said, hang on a second. Were they there or not? They said, no, they wasn't there. Oops, I thought they were there. That's another report that was wrong. They said I confessed to this crime while being interrogated in front of my mom. My mom's name ain't on none of the waivers that they had, that they tricked me into signing. Mom's name ain't on none of it. So they asked, well, where was she at? Oh, we don't know. We don't even know where she was. Did you tell his mother y'all was interrogating him? No. Did y'all tell her y'all wasn't interrogating him? Yeah. We told her we wasn't going to interrogate him. We'll bring him right back. Did y'all know he was on heavy medication that was causing him to be dizzy and black out? Yeah, we knew that. Who told y'all his mother? Then why didn't y'all have somebody there to watch out for his mental health and stuff? Well, I don't know. Why'd y'all make these reports saying y'all did? I don't know. It was a mistake. That was another mistake. But nobody said nothing. Nobody even bothered to say anything. Nobody bothered to change the reports, anything, but the judge would mind it. Yeah, nobody even bothered to look at the police officer statements that they gave. They used them to certify me. Saying I was in the 10th grade of school, that was to say my education was up to par. Saying I understood my rights and everything like that. I could barely read or write. I wasn't in the 10th grade of school, but they didn't check on me. All these police reports are wrong. All of them. From saying I was suspect in cases, to saying that I was interrogated in front of my parents, to say that I was confessing to weapons in front of other juvenile officers. And matter of fact, that all the police officers' testimony, the main ones who was in there, they all retestified after all this happened and admitted that all of their reports, their major reports, there's like 6 of them, are totally wrong. And not only are they wrong, but they're wrong to the contrary so bad that had this been told from the get-go, it would have been against the law. Look at Missouri Section 211.061, where a juvenile to be questioned has to have a consenting adult. A juvenile is not an adult. A juvenile is not an adult, but they treated me like one. The judge allowed them to get by with life. The judge ruled saying that there was no proof of any physical or anything aggression by the police officers toward me. But how can he say that when his ruling before was he threw out a gunshot residue test that came back, that didn't come back positive, by the way, but he threw out that gunshot residue test saying that they took it without my consent. They held me down and took it. But he done that to get that snippet out of there that way he could show. This is a small southern town. He had to have known that if that would have been left in, then 1, that would have shown I didn't have no gunshot residue on me, and 2, that would have shown that the police officers, due to the prosecutor telling them they're allowed to do this, held me down and told me, we don't care what you say. This was their words in their testimony. We understand you're not consenting, but we're going to do this anyway, without a parent or anybody. Held me down and took it. Had they would have checked my mental health background, they would have seen that it's a trigger for me. I break down when the people do that. I fall apart. I had disorders that where I just fell apart because it came from an abusive home. But nobody bothered to check my background. Nobody bothered checking anything. They made up all this stuff to make me look violent, make me look bad. They made me look like I was a murderer. Every day I lived with this, and nobody was there to help me. Nobody was there to help me. Another key point. When I've been bringing up my background since then, took time and just told a story when the facts didn't match the story that they told. I've been fighting to learn to educate myself, and it's hard. I've had good people step in and try to help me. It took me a long time before I learned how to read and write. It took me a long time. And I had to break away from the chains of abuse, addiction, and everything. I spent years with my mom in my ear, telling me don't say nothing against Larry. They want Larry. Don't say nothing against him. But you keep the abuse hidden. Don't tell nobody about the abuse. Because she didn't want to look bad as a mother, as if she failed. I had a stepdad the whole time that I was going to court, sending his friends, his gang-related friends, his Klan members, his area people in there to feed more ideology in my head, to feed me more stuff to try to keep me silent. Pedophiles and incestuous relatives that didn't want nobody to talk about stuff. And the fear I lived with, and I would go to bed at night, wake up with nightmares every night, thinking, what do I do? What do I do? I'm scared. So when I shut off on everybody, and I almost accepted the fate of just staying in prison and keeping my mouth shut, because talking about my life was painful. I had to accept the fact that I had no education, and that, you know, I was nothing. I just went through all that. I didn't want to accept all the ugly facts. But for people, when my little brother killed himself, he hung himself by himself in the room, due to everything in his room at home, due to the fact that I left him. He didn't have nobody to speak up for him or help. And I had to think about that. And I had to think, what am I going to do? For my ego and pride, am I going to keep my mouth shut? That way nobody has to see that I went through vicious rape as a kid, as a little young boy, and that I was bullied and beat on. And sometimes I was pushing the corner by my stepdad with a gun in my face, with a gun Russian roulette style, until I pissed myself, until I peed all over myself. I didn't want to talk about this stuff, you know, but do I hold that in, or do I allow my brother who killed himself, memory, people just think that he killed himself, or my sister who went through hell herself, be abandoned as well? What do I do? Through help from my fiance and a few others telling me, hey, go ahead, talk, it's okay, you can talk, the world won't judge you. Now I'm doing that. The facts of the case is so messed up, and I'm talking to society, people who's listening to this, people who care, who would take time to look. You ain't gotta believe my words. My story is tragic. It don't matter how I tell you my story, you're gonna feel sympathy. I ain't asking for sympathy. I was a kid who was sentenced as an adult based on a set of facts that didn't exist. I was a child who didn't have that background that they said I did, who the system took time and made up a story about, sold the story in order to convict me. I don't want nobody's sympathy or to look at me and think, oh my God, we gotta feel sorry for him and help him. Help me because it's the right thing to do. Help me because it should change the system. Help me because you want to look at this and we want to make a change to the system. I will be more than happy to wait a few years before my innocence, before I get freed. Just if it would save other kids from going through what I went through. Prison don't scare me no more because I lived in prison my whole life since I was a kid. Even when I was home, that wasn't a home, that was a prison. To not be able to sleep in your own bed without somebody coming in there raping you. To be able to not even go to school, to be trapped in a room all day and told to keep your mouth shut. I've been in prison my whole life. What scares me is when this is happening, what scares me is looking at this saying, wow, it happened that easy. They just said something and threw it against the wall that stuck and they used it. That's what's scary, is because they could do this to one of your sons or daughters. They could do this to you. They could do this to a grown person or a kid. They've been doing it. Missouri has had so many wrongful convictions come out lately in the last few years, and I served time with most of them. I know these people. This is happening. It's for real. People are suffering. I don't have no family. I have one family, and that's my fiance and her kids. And I love them and cherish them, and I would never want to see one of my stepkids go through anything like that. I would never want to see anyone go through anything like that because it's terrible. That's why we're making this, and that's why I'm reaching out. I would be more than happy to pay for your copies to see this. I would be more than happy to pay your postage to see this. This goes for anybody at CNN, the Associated Press, from St. Louis, Kansas City, to 48 Hours, Dateline, NBC, Fox News, MSNBC, any one of them. I would be more than happy to pay for your postage. And if I got the money, I would save it up to pay for your gas money. Just look at it and then tell me where I'm wrong at. Look at it and tell me if you could say that this is right. years now. 15 long years. And we're seeking justice. Not only are we seeking justice, but it's going further than justice. Even after I